Hello and welcome back to Dr. Neurosaurus. Today's Paleo Spotlight is Ashley Hall, Outreach Program Manager at the Museum of the Rockies. We chatted about the twists and turns of careers in paleontology, finding your path, her least favorite dinosaur, and more. So let's dig in. Ashley, welcome.
Hey, thanks, Ahenia. Thank you for having me today.
Of course. So you are an outreach program manager. Can you tell us what that means?
Absolutely. Yeah. So right now I'm sitting inside of the E.L. Wiegand Digital Learning Studio here at Museum of the Rockies in Bozeman, Montana. And my job entails outreach of all kinds. So I am in charge of virtual outreach. So virtual outreach to schools, libraries, basically anywhere in the world we can reach from this brand new studio that we were able to build earlier this year. It was due to a big grant from the E.L. Wiegand Foundation. So thanks to the E.L. Wiegand Foundation out there, they're awesome. And I think you probably know, but Montana is a really big state. And so all Montana school children are admitted free to Museum of the Rockies. However, it's a really big place. And so we are not able to even bus every school here, even if they wanted to, because, it's like 8 or 9 hours from one corner to the other. But we do reimburse up to 50% of bus costs to get kids here. But if they can't come here, I'm able to reach them either virtually. Also, I do a lot of outreach in the summertime where I physically drive places. And so we have a dinosaur themed car. It's got lots of cool dinosaurs on it. And you might see me on the road in the summertime taking our fossils to different places around the state. I also have an outreach velociraptor named Gobi, thanks to TRX Dinosaurs. They're a really awesome manufacturer of scientifically accurate puppets. And I wear a lot of other hats as well. I do a lot of adult programs here at the museum. We have some events that we do that cater to sort of the adults without kids group. So we do some like nighttime events. So we also do a lot of programming. So at the museum, we have different changing exhibits where, we'll get exhibits from the American Museum of Natural History or the Field Museum. And so I'm always creating programming to go with those exhibits as well. But yeah, that's sort of me in a nutshell.
So you create a lot of different programs that serve these sort of very different populations of people. What's your favorite program that you've done?
Oh, man. So, I really love answering questions for kids. It's a very simple program, but, kids just really want to talk to experts who are knowledgeable about dinosaurs. And so the past few days, that's really like where my heart is, because we have several schools that have reached out that want to talk to paleontologists. So we log on with them and we get all sorts of awesome questions, and it just really helps to fuel their curiosity and their passion as well, and to see other people who like the kinds of things that they do. So recently I've really loved doing video chats with kids and of course virtual programs. It really just varies by the season what I like to do the best.
How did you get into this aspect of paleontology? What was your career path to get here?
Yeah, so I always say I started from age 4, which a lot of people in paleontology do as kids. So we grow up loving dinosaurs, and I was one of those kids who was at a holiday get together with family, and I would just start going off on dinosaurs to like one of my unsuspecting relatives, right? So I'd be like, Stegosaurus lived 150 million years ago and it has plates and armor and blah, 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 just like one of those knowledgeable kids, like we all know. And so I've been a science communicator since I could walk, pretty much. All my facts, my family was always like astounded that my facts were correct, and that I just loved this like very bizarre topic that no one knew anything about, because, I grew up in the 80s and dinosaurs were kind of like, the hip thing then. And not a lot of like paleo experts around besides like Jack Horner and Robert Bacher. And so, they inspired like a whole generation of kiddos. So I started then. My career path, though, has been like really weird and twisty, as many of us have weird, twisty career paths. I went to school at IU Bloomington in Southern Indiana. I majored in anthropology and animal behavior. So paleontology is not a major that a lot of people can do as an undergraduate. And so I went the anthropology route, which doesn't seem like it fits, but I actually had sort of a mentor that worked in the zooarchaeology lab. And zooarchaeology is the study of animal bones, either at archaeological sites or that were processed by people or domesticated by people. So there are a lot of different really cool ways that I was able to get in with sort of anatomy and bones, because that's what I was really into. And also, like many other kids, I was interested in like a lot of things. So while paleontology was like my main thing, I also really loved anthropology, archaeology, that kind of stuff too. And at the time, I wanted to be a zookeeper as well. So like many of us were just kind of all over the place, right, with our interests. And so I wasn't really sure where to go in college. And college is like a great time to explore like all those weird, like different routes that you can go and take in your career. I got an internship my last year of college as a zookeeper intern at the LA Zoo. And I worked with fabulous birds. I worked with condors, California condors, the breeding program there. I worked on like feeding the babies there with a puppet and, kind of feeding them so they don't recognize humans. We use a puppet. And I learned through that internship, by the way, that I didn't necessarily think zookeeping was for me. So if you're watching out there and you're a young person, internships are the way to go, because you learn really quickly the kinds of things that you're into and the things that you're not. I was living in LA and I was exploring, and I found the Natural History Museum of Los Angeles County. So what's really interesting is my career path took a turn back towards the stuff that I originally loved, right? So it was almost like paleontology is like pulling me the other direction, like, hey, get back here. So basically, I have worked at a ton of museums across the country. After LA, I worked at the Cleveland Museum of Natural History, and I was adult programs manager, creating like really cool programs for adults, and also just working with live animals there. And now I'm at Museum of the Rockies. So I've been here for the past 3 years, and I know it was a super long, crazy road, but I don't regret a single part of it.
I feel like every little turn that our careers take build, and they build to this incredible repertoire of experiences that you can pull from when you're talking to the public. You've worked with a lot of different animals and fossils and specimens. What has been your favorite thing to work on or work with?
Oh man. I have to pick one.
Top 3, let's say.
Okay. I honestly, I love my job here so much. It is my favorite place, I think, that I've worked for many reasons. The other places are also special, but Museum of the Rockies here is a really wonderful institution. We are never not doing something. It's never boring. And I honestly really like working with virtual teaching. And then of course, paleontological digs are just like nothing else in the whole world. So, going out on digs and getting dirty, and I look clean now, right? We all look like we're in a business professional sort of situation, but I love being dirty, not wearing makeup, having gross hair, like covering myself in plaster. Like it's just really fun to be out in the field too.
What's your least favorite thing?
My least favorite thing,
Like that you've worked with, or maybe we can even do the specific question of what's your least favorite dinosaur if you want.
ooh, okay. Man, my least favorite thing. Well, my least favorite dinosaur is Camptosaurus. I know, controversial, right?
Whoa,
Whoa.
that's pretty controversial.
But
We're gonna
like,
need to unpack that one.
yeah, so let's unpack it. So, least favorite dinosaur. So, most favorite dinosaur of mine is Parasaurolophus, famously. It's been my favorite since I've been a little kid, and I have a Parasaurolophus on my arm, which I love. Here's my full full Parasaurolophus tattoo.
Amazing.
But least favorite, Camptosaurus. Why? Okay, Hania, why do you think Camptosaurus? Like, do you agree with me? Do you not agree with me?
So I'm a little biased because I worked with a Camptosaurus fossil as an internship that I did as an undergrad. So I might not be the best. Maybe it's not my
Whoa.
favorite dinosaur, but I certainly don't have anything against Camptosaurus personally. So I'd love to
Okay.
hear your perspective on this.
Okay. All right. So I get this question sometimes, what's your least favorite dinosaur? And you have to like pick one. Like I love all dinosaurs. It's like picking your favorite child, right? But Camptosaurus is a Jurassic, ornithopod that's sort of like, yeah, to me it looks like Stegosaurus with the plates off, right? And that was sort of like I don't know. It lacks the bells and whistles that other things have, which like visually doesn't make it less interesting, but it also isn't interesting to look at. Now, the caveat to that, right? Because Camptosaurus, and you can patch in a picture of Camptosaurus, I'm sure, but it's got a small head, a huge body, and then like a pretty long tail, and it's got pretty strong back legs. The cool thing though about Camptosaurus is because it doesn't have those bells and whistles, it could have had a lot of cool stuff that it did that we just don't know about. So there's kind of like the other side to the story. Like, why was it bland looking in its bones?
you you don't like Camptosaurus because its bones aren't fancy enough.
I mean, coming from Parasaurolophus, right? I mean, you have like a really cool crest. I don't know.
That's amazing.
People say T-Rex is sort of like their least favorite just to be trendy sometimes, but I love T-Rex. T-Rex is an awesome dinosaur, and so are most other. I mean, people probably say hadrosaurs are their least favorite dinosaurs because they're like, just plant eaters or whatever. But I don't know. Do you have a least favorite dinosaur?
You know what? I've never been asked what my least favorite dinosaur was, and I don't have an answer prepared for that. I would have to take some time to think about it. I have a good top 10 list of favorites. Oh,
you have to pick one least favorite. Least favorite.
I'm gonna say Plateosaurus. Is that controversial?
Yeah, perfect. Okay.
It's just like it's fine. I guess I don't know. Now that I'm thinking about it, I guess
fine.
it's kind of cool. It's like it's like, a really early sauropod, but it's like small. It's like the size of what's the Flintstones dinosaur name? Dino?
Dino, yeah.
It's like Dino, but a little bit bigger.
It does look like Dino. You're so
Yeah.
right.
Also just not fancy enough, I guess. I guess the early like non-fancy dinosaurs are just not as attractive.
And you know what? There's something to that, I swear. Like if something didn't have like a frill or spikes or like giant something, that you can see through its bones, like T-Rex, for example. Like T-Rex is a giant dinosaur. Doesn't really have any bells and whistles on it besides its giant face full of knives, right? But
just besides that.
Besides that, right? Anything on the outside, if they're anything like birds, which they are, was probably like a color or like a plumage or something. So it just like it hurts my brain to think about like the things we'll never know.
Ashley, what's your advice for people wanting to get involved with paleo education?
So if you love dinosaurs and paleontology, there are so many different resources online, and kids these days have so many things that we did not. So the internet is full of almost like too many things, right? So I would start with Ohania's YouTube. So this is going to be my go-to for telling people about, interviews and things like that. I really love Eons. Eons from PBS is one of my favorite channels. If you're interested in, like videos about paleontology, those are some of the best to watch. I even use them as reference material when I'm like brushing myself up for a program. I'll look up their videos too. And of course, reach out to museums. We have a lot of virtual programs that you can tune into. I do a live Fossil Friday every week now on Fridays, 9 a.m. Montana or Mountain Standard Time. and really just reach out to the people that you admire. There's so many ways through social media now, Instagram, and so just reaching out if you admire someone, is a start. Find their email, find their Twitter or their X or Instagram handle or whatever they're on, and just cold call, email them. I've had plenty of emails from people that have become, like close friends, or I've become a mentor to. And, I think what people don't realize is experts just really want to inspire the next generation. So just reach out. And with that, you can put my email address or my Instagram handle here if anyone's interested in like science communication or education.
Amazing. Ashley, this was incredible. It was so good to see you and talk to you about your career path through anthro and bird puppets and
Yeah.
back into paleontology.
Yeah. It's been a real weird ride, but I wouldn't have it any other way. And, the advice my parents gave me when I was a kid, I grew up in a hometown without a museum, and we would go to the Field Museum all the time and visit that beautiful, evolving planet gallery. And I was just in awe all the time. When you visit museums, you're just like, oh my gosh, it's so cool. They always said, you don't have to work in a regular office. You can work in a museum. And I took that straight to heart. So that's why I'm here.
Ashley, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. This is a pleasure, and it was way too short. We always have so much fun, and we have to do this again.
Definitely. We'll see you in the next video.